Hey everybody, thank you for joining me. Uh Man, come on, man. CFTC. Have you ever seen the CFTC Ooki DAO video? Go back and look at that. It explains the cause of action and the complaint. This gets into something else. Something else that I'm a little bit familiar with. In my previous experience, I was involved in litigation, international litigation enforcement on terrorist claims against victims of terrorism, on behalf of victims of terrorism against those state sponsors of terrorism. So I have a little bit of understanding of service of process and of the litigation route and enforcement. I'm also was a state employee for the state of Maryland in an enforcement division for the on taxation issues. So I have a little idea of what's going on. But first, solar equals energy freedom. Never forget it. Those bills are going to be coming in pretty hot and heavy this winter. Anyways, CFTC has attempted to say that them posting a copy of the complaint on a chatbot on the Ooki DAO website, or their web portal, however they connect to it, satisfies service of process. Service of process. Put a pin in that. We'll get back to it. I want to read this story to you first. The Commodity Futures Trading Commission used unorthodox methods of service to a lawsuit against pseudonymous members of a decentralized autonomous organization, DAO, according to court documents filed Tuesday. Members of Ooki DAO, which operates a protocol that offers illegal... Oh, that's a bit of editorial, CoinDesk. That's a wee bit of editorial. We don't know if it's illegal just yet. Has a judge said so? Huh? No. Bias. Anyways, they're just passing off the information. Now, this is what it is. They want the Northern District of California. They want this case heard in the Northern District of California. Now, that's convenient for the CFTC because that's where they want it. That's where they brought it. For whatever reason, they want it in the Northern District of California. However, the DAO token holders are spread out all over the world. Oh. How is the CFTC going to enforce against people all over the world? How can they make sure that they get the document and then they know this is going on and they have the opportunity to defend against these allegations or anything? The whole basis for the American legal system. And they seem to think they have some sort of oomph behind it because they got the charges filed and settled against the organizers, the programmers, the people the head honchos. It's the protocol founders, Tom Bean and Kyle Kistner. You know what? Great, you guys rolled over and paid a fine. Fine, go work on your next project. That's basically what they're going to do. So the CFTC has done nothing because it does not yet have the jurisdiction. Here, service of process. Let's go back to it. The due process clauses of the United States Constitution prohibit courts from exercising personal jurisdiction. Lay hands on that person and bring them to court. Personal jurisdiction over a defendant unless the defendant has proper notice of the court's proceedings. I have never set foot in Northern California, only once to San Francisco, and it was less than a week. So, if I was in San Francisco for a whole week, and I went and I conducted all sorts of terrible things, I defrauded half the city, and I retreat back to my house outside of the Northern District of California, then whomever in the Northern District of California that wants to bring me back there has to find me, serve me with the due process papers and say, if you don't show up, we're then going to be going after assets because we'll be getting a default against you. And we're going to take it all. That's the whole point of this right here. CFTC wants a quick button wrap up. I don't think they should get it. I don't think the judge should allow it. To meet this rule, the courts require plaintiffs to arrange for defendants to be served with a court summons and a copy of the plaintiff's complaint. These papers are collectively called process. It's not simple enough just to mail it to the defendant. You have to know that the defendant received it, which is why there's another extra set of rules that have promulgated out of this. What those are is that the person serving the documents cannot be a party to the suit. So they can't be an attorney. They can't be the person serving it. They can't be the brother or the sister of the person serving it, because then that person may have some sort of damages against them, depending on it, but just for illustration purposes. So generally what lawyers do is they have somebody whom they employ to be their service of process. Generally it's like in the show She-Hulk. The guy knocks on the door and says, "Hey, look, you got a gift." And he opens it up, and it's a service of process. And he knows that it was Jennifer Walters who got it. It's in her hand. She's seeing it. Good service of process. This is the exact opposite of that. This right here, let me show you what the CFTC tried to do. Now, the CFTC wants disgorgement, trading and registration bans, injunctions against further, yada, 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 all about this money maker DAO. And the only reason, if we go back and watch the complaint one, the only reason they want to do all of this is because somebody didn't register at the beginning. This seems really heavy-handed and very, very aggressive. This is the problem that CFTC has. The inability to find a non-doxed, we know what doxing is where you reveal your personal identity as a party of the DAO to serve the lawsuit, indicates reaching the resolution will be more complex as opposed to finding the founders. Now, what happened, because I have the document here, this is the declaration of Brittany Snyder, who is a paralegal for the CFTC. And this is her affidavit declaration, which everybody who files and is the service process server would file one of these in the proceeding. And it's an affidavit declaring to the court, this is the truth. These are the steps I took to accomplish this. This is why it's and therefore service process is complete. They have to be over 18. She's 21. Okay. She's employed by a paralegal division of enforcement for the Commodities Futures Trading Commission. Okay, it can be an employee of the attorney. That's okay. As a paralegal in the division, duties include taking steps to facilitate service, personal knowledge of that. She went looking corporate registration. They reviewed the Ooki DAO website. Ooki, let's see. Ooki.com. Let's see. Hey, looky there. Yeah. So, latest proposals. This is essentially what they thought they could do, because this website, as we all understand how a DAO operates on a decentralized website, and allowing people to interact with it and vote on governance, and whether or not you're going to go one way or another versus APYs or upgrades, yada yada yada. Anything changing the state of the chain or the blockchain, that is fair game in governance. Now, this is what they did. All they did was copy and paste. And they threw it into here, and then they said, done. Let's go file this. And Governance Forum. Welcome to Governance Forum. Purpose of this forum is share and discuss proposals. Ooki DAO. You look at in-depth discussion. Look no further. We discuss for public participants with projects expanding ecosystem. If you hold Ooki tokens, the protocol or plan of developing a protocol is this place is to be. Okay. Search for business registration in 50 states. There are no results. Oops. That's a problem. The only reason they were able to get the $250K from the founders is because they were located in the 50 states. They were within U.S. jurisdiction. And we got an magistrate judge. And then they decided that this was adequate. Wrote and submitted the following text through the help chatbot. Attached, please find a complaint filed at U.S. District Court, Northern California, Futures Trading Commission against Ooki DAO, case number, and then yada yada yada. Please contact CFTC at Ooki DAO service at cftc.gov to discuss the matter further. I am not an attorney. I am not your attorney. I am not anyone's attorney. But I wouldn't do that. I would make no attempt. Because they can't prove that you received it. They can't. It's impossible. If they had the ability to prove that each and every one of the token holders received it, and they're going to get some sort of majority on that, the court is going to have to rule on whether or not this is allowable, which I think is deeply problematic. Because if we can do this now, what's to say we're not going to do it later? What's to say we're not going to use random chatbots? What's to say that you couldn't be served via your professional profile on LinkedIn? Even if LinkedIn moved all of its server farms into a decentralized location or overseas to where a CFTC couldn't grab, it's a real concern. I think this is a deprivation of rights and a deprivation of property to an extent that cannot be allowed further because they haven't been able to prove that they have served within the time. And there's 21 days to respond to service. She went through and she posted a whole bunch of stuff on the chatbot. Okay. Personal story time. I was tasked with perfecting service on a defendant who, let's just say, they necessarily wasn't a person, but an entity, an institution. I had to go through, and I had to write out all my affidavits and everything. I had to go through and I had to state everything that we had publicly available, the means by which we had to service this process. Because it's not like I just jump on a plane and fly to this hostile country. That's not possible. So we had to try it through regular mail. There's no address. Evidently, whomever has registered Ooki DAO, however they've got the servers farms or however they have the AWS stuff working, evidently that's a mystery to CFTC. Because they seek to impose the communications on Telegram. They're actually going in on the Telegram channel. The Twitter handle. What, you didn't try to send him a DM? Why don't you send him a DM, CFTC? Huh? On the Telegram, why don't you send him a DM that way? Why is the help bot on their website the direction you went? I think that this has some serious holes in it. And there are going to be some serious ramifications that come out of this for this technology in the future if we allow this kind of service or process to bring it in to the legal realm. This kind of jurisdictional land grab is really unsettling. And honestly, I think it's. I think this is CFTC trying to play catch up with this SEC, because the SEC has gone out wholeheartedly and guns a blazing against crypto these days. I think CFTC has just set out the knives, and this service of process is going to be either a huge failure, highly doubt, or a terrible consequence for crypto and decentralized ledger and blockchain technology to be developed in the United States. And you want to know why? It's because Congress is lazy. Congress has not seen fit to set out some rules and some guidance for these agencies to operate within. Congress has not mandated them to do these things. CFTC is begged for a whole ton more. The IRS just got 87,000 new agents. Those agents are needed to replace 51,000 of the ones that are retiring, but then to expand into further enforcement, because right now enforcement is dying. This right here is a problem that I see moving forward, because take a look. This is how public officials avoid service of process. Ken Paxton, the Attorney General, does not have to appear at a hearing related to abortion access lawsuit after an affidavit alleged that he ran away twice from a person who was serving a subpoena related to the lawsuit. Ken Paxton, the Attorney General of the great state of Texas, has decided that he's going to run away from a service of process. He's going to run away from this lawsuit and this subpoena. This is not financial advice. I am not your lawyer. I am not giving you legal advice. I'm merely explaining the concept of service of process as it pertains to technology here. That's it. And CoinDesk, man. Were you quoting that? Come on, CoinDesk. Anyways, with that said, I hope you have a good day. If you like this video, please share it, like, subscribe, whatever it is. If you thought it was interesting, if you learned something, give me a comment. Say hi. And I appreciate you. Have a good one. SW.